নমস্কার, আমি জ্যোতির্ময় কর্মকার, জি 24 ঘন্টা এডুকেশন এক্সিলেন্স 2023-এ আপনাদের স্বাগত। প্রত্যেক বছর এই এডুকেশন এক্সিলেন্স আয়োজন করা হয় একটাই লক্ষ্যে। প্রত্যেক বছর দেশের শিক্ষা ব্যবস্থা ক্রমশ ধীরে ধীরে সময়ের সঙ্গে তাল রেখে বদলাচ্ছে। সরকার এবং বেসরকারি সংস্থা সেই পরিবর্তনের সঙ্গে তাল রেখেই পদক্ষেপ করছে। কিভাবে বদলে যাচ্ছে দেশ, কিভাবে বদলাচ্ছে দেশের ছাত্রছাত্রীদের শিক্ষার ব্যবস্থার পরিকাঠামো, সেই প্রত্যেকটা পরিবর্তনকে আপনাদের সামনে স্পষ্টভাবে তুলে ধরতেই আমাদের এই উদ্যোগ। এই মুহূর্তে আমার সঙ্গে রয়েছেন অল ইন্ডিয়া কাউন্সিল ফর টেকনিক্যাল এডুকেশনের চেয়ারম্যান প্রফেসর ডক্টর টি.জি. সীতারাম। আমরা তার সঙ্গে একবার কথা বলে নেব। স্যার, উই ওয়েলকাম ইউ to our program to জি 24 Ghanta. We have been organizing this program every year, and the main focus of our program is to capture all the changes that the government and the private sector have been bringing in the education system. So my questions to you will be centered around national education policy, and my first question to you will be, what is the basic idea of national education policy in respect of technical education?
Yeah, this National Education Policy 2020 July May, the Government of India brought. It's one of the landmark document. So let me come to this straight away to the point on how it is to the technical education. See, in technical education, we already have a 4-year program, undergraduate program mainly. Okay, so in the National Education Policy, the whole idea is, one is, we have to make the students to critically think. Critical thinking is very, very critical for them. So we need to inculcate culture of thinking, asking questions to these students who are, that's the outcome of the students. So they are graduating, with a degree today in engineering without even knowing, how to ask questions and how to think about research. So research focus is the another one National Education Policy emphasizes. So this National Education Policy 2020 in engineering education, technical education, it's one of the landmark, thing which we are actually trying to implement it through the National Credit Framework. उसको बारे में भी I will tell you little later, but at this moment National Education Policy is one of the best document where a lot of option is there, multiple entry exit, multidisciplinary focus, and then through the academic bank of credits they can accumulate credits and then get a degree, and then there will also flexibility of curriculum, and curriculum will be not defined by any agency, it will be defined through a process in their engineering institutions also. But for that they have to be ready. We are making them ready through accreditation. Many such processes are there. It is not one single thing. It's going to happen continuously, with an ongoing process. National Education Policy also emphasizes, so we are going to completely implement all these things step by step by 2035. So there is enough time for us to also look into and implement it in phases and learn as we go along. And finally the aim of this education policy is democratization of the entire process. Okay, that means every individual will be part of that in implementing.
Sir, what are the changes that you are expecting to get? Because we had a system, and now you are changing this entire system. So what are those reasons for which you are now feeling that a change needs to be there?
See, some of the IITs and even AICTE is little ahead of the changes. See, we are already given a model curriculum. See, we are not going to define you follow this. We give a flexibility to the institutions who are autonomous or who are going to become an autonomous institution. That means they have a self capacity to develop the curriculum. Okay. The whole idea is basically, every institution do design their curriculum, teach the candidates, and one other important thing is the vocational courses, online courses, and regular courses are all brought on par. That's another important assignment in the NEP. So we are actually going step by step process of implementing. The immediate thing is National Credit Framework. National Credit Framework actually talks about how the credits can be earned and also what levels that means level NSQF level 4.5 and above, we will start with the engineering diploma, and then it goes up to 8 for a PhD level. So this one is now uniformizes the whether you earn through vocational courses, whether you earn these credits through online programs, or you micro credits also you can get accumulated and transfer that to your credits for an university. And the last but not the least, how the credit framework could be organized within an institution itself for a student to have a better learning. Finally, the outcome is what is the learning student does. Learning outcomes are the key part. So that's where national education policy brings about more about learning, more about how to impart skills into the students in their while they are studying itself. That's the critical part of national education policy.
Sir, you have certainly analyzed the changing scenario, and based on that you are bringing all these changes. Sir, what are the requirements of implementing this national education policy in our country?
See, national education policy is a document which is a very broad based document. Okay, there are minor details. UGC will also give us some guidelines, and AICT will also gives the guidelines for engineering institutions in the country. See, this is not a rigid document. There is a lot of flexibility to the institutions to adopt. The first and foremost, as I told you, is the how to give a multiple entry and exit to a program, and how to earn these credits and take record of these credits, and how do we make that to a specific program, whether it be diploma, engineering, or any other program, MBA or MCA. How do we accumulate these credits and award a degree? That's the process through which, where it's very critical for us to understand how do we do the process. For that, we issue guidelines to the institutions to follow.
Sir, this national education policy has given a great space to the foreign institutions. Don't you think that this will make the students more inclined to the foreign institutions rather than the institution that we have in our country?
I do not completely agree with you. It's, as I told you earlier itself, it's a place where you are given a level playing field to everybody. Okay, that's number one. Second is the democratization of the education at every level. Okay, I don't completely agree with you. Foreign universities will come here and start selling their degrees, because if you look at recent surveys, many of our undergraduate institutions, whether it is IITs or BITS or any of them, are much better undergraduate programs than many of the world universities itself. So we are doing reasonably well. We don't need to be scared of some universities will come and take away our space. I completely disagree. This is a document which is a landmark document in the terms of how to democratize the education. Unless we have that policy of democratization, we are a country, of largest democracy in the world. So we need to look at that in a very positive spirit. I don't think, even if you look at the policy, what UGC has brought out, I don't want to talk more about the UGC's plans, but I just wanted to enlighten, because you raised the issue of international universities coming to India. That is actually the role of UGC. What they have very clearly said, they have to they have to do an activity similar to their home country, home institution. Whether if it is Caltech, if they are teaching whatever they are doing there, that exactly is to be done very similar to that here. So that means they are not going to digress the quality. So to give that quality, they have to charge you a very high. I don't know the fee structures will allow them to do it. So we don't need to be immediately threatened by that, because we have an excellent institutions for particularly in engineering. I think we are the third largest country in doing very well in terms of whether research or research publications, citations. In all these things, India has done very well. So we actually have a potential to become number one in the world, not just in India. So if you really practice the right practices through having a proper curriculum and also vocational and then skill-based courses, if you impart to our students are already actually one of the best undergraduate degree students coming out of India. See, whether you take many of them, whether unicorn leaders or big multinational companies, CEOs are all from Indian education. Okay, they have done so well because their education was very good. So we don't need to be threatened by this. I strongly believe that this will give us much more room, and there is a good possibility that many will start adopting Indian higher education in their countries as also. So this COVID-19 has also given us a lot of impetus, particularly in terms of distance learning. NEP brings the online and distance education on par with the regular education. So automatically we will have a greater reach to go outside than some universities coming inside. So I think this is a good time for our institution to rise and do a very good quality educational programs, not just for India, for the whole world.
Sir, eminent persons from Bengal, they are waiting to ask you some questions. Right now we will move to that segment. Okay.
Kindly.
Whether AICT has any plan to bring out model BTech syllabus aligning with national academic and credit framework notified recently.
Yeah. See, AICT, as I told you, little advanced. So we have already 160 credit undergraduate program, 4-year undergraduate program in engineering. 4-year every year 40 credits. It's similar lines as already National Credit Framework emphasizes. But there are small changes where, how do you get an entry and exit to their program? These are the things we are working out. We have made an high power committee which has already almost completed their job. In a week's or 1 week time, we are going to roll out the guidelines. Please remember, I'm again highlighting, we are going to give guidelines to the institutions to follow. Even our the model curriculum, what we have done earlier, okay, we are revising them also. We are already revising them through the committee mode. Several committees are looking at. Recently, we completed civil engineering undergraduate program. So we go into the other programs soon. So these are all an ongoing process. Curriculum. This is what we call model curriculum. We are not actually refining. That means quite a bit flexibility to the colleges are also there. Autonomous colleges particularly to do these things. Universities definitely they can adopt their own curriculum, little bit modification. We give a guideline to them, model curriculum. This 160 credits, and that is actually very in line with the National Credit Framework, which is already there. So just wait for a week's time. We are going to roll out the guidelines for the engineering institutions to follow and adopt so that they can do better implementation, for particularly for these colleges which are affiliated to an university, which they don't have their own wherewithals to decide these things. But for others, this will be a guideline document.
My question is related to online MOOC courses and its implementation in NEP. I would like to know about the process of implementation of these courses under NEP. Will it be mandatory as a part of the curriculum, or it should be optional so that the credit earned by them to be added into the academic bank of credit?
So it's one of the other options, as I told you already. Already I told you that is online courses what they earn the credits through NPTEL MOOCs program, which is directly accessible. Even it is already there in our model curriculum. The students can earn up to about 40% of the courses, 20% to 40% of the courses through MOOCs online program. So which is basically a self-learning through watching the videos and taking examination on the NPTEL platform. So this is already there. So we are going to strengthen that in this the committee which they are looking National Credit Framework. So the MOOCs program AICT has adopted much before than the National Credit Framework has come. So we are in advanced phase.
How will the colleges who are affiliated colleges today, how will they become degree granting? Meaning that we are not used to getting degrees from colleges. We are used to seeing that universities grant degrees. But within, let's say, 10 years, when these colleges become autonomous, they will grant degrees as per NEP, National Education Policy. But the very concept of colleges giving degrees is unheard of. How will this transition happen, and what will be the recognition, and how will the industry accept degrees granted by colleges, or how will foreign universities, or how will higher education institutions accept or recognize degrees which are granted by colleges? How will this transition happen?
Yes. See, this is where the National Board of Accreditation comes into picture. See, as you know, accreditation initially started by AICTE within itself, because accreditation and approval should not be done by the same agency. So, National Board of Accreditation was formed. Okay. So, National Board of Accreditation is a program accreditation of every program. For example, BTech in civil engineering. So, they have to get accredited this one, and this process will evaluate whether what their students are getting a degree, they are on par with the international or. So, once NBA is accredited, because it is we are a signatory as a country, we are signatory to the world body. So, all our students' degrees will be accepted. So, NBA accreditation AICTE has made compulsory 2014, and this year in the approval process also we have made it mandatory within one to 2 years. 60% of their courses in every colleges, the undergraduate and postgraduate courses, have to be made accredited going through NBA. So, we are encouraging the institutions to go to National Board of Accreditation, get their courses or programs accredited. Then there is no issue of whether somebody will accept or not, because we are a signatory to the world body. Once it is NBA accredited course, there is no problem. See, that is what I told you. We are already practicing this. I just talked about that only. Democratization of the education and more freedom to choose their curriculum. And we are, as an agency, as a council, as a statutory body, giving some guidelines so that the institutions which are not ready to decide themselves their curriculum, we are giving them an option. So, this is the process. It will take some time. It is not going to happen next year. Maybe another 3, 4, 5 years I think they will be ready to decide their own curriculum. Even here in our curriculum also, we have given 20% chances for the colleges also to decide themselves and adopt themselves and modify them. So, there is already a flexibility building in, and we are training them to exercise that flexibility. So, that is where AICTE is in a very, very advanced position in implementation of the national education policy, because it is all about developing the curriculum, what is needed for the students for their outcomes.
Sir, the goal of NEP is to allow the engineering students to pursue multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary education by developing the skills and the competencies that are in demand in the industry, such as creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, communication and teamwork, which will not only broaden their horizons and enhance their adaptability to changing market needs, but also increase their employment potential in the long run. Sir, what is the roadmap for the students to get certified and recognized for their learning outcomes through a credit-based system and a National Academic Bank of Credit?
See, National Bank, we are asking all the institutions to sign up for the ABC, Academic Bank of Credits. And as I told you, AICTE has very in advanced stage itself, has made every year 40 credits to be learned, and all that has been rolled out, and many of our institutions know about it. Luckily, ours is also a 4-year program. We don't need to modify so much like the other other institutions in a UGC. Okay. So, ours is a 4-year program. So, we need to introduce multi-entry, multi-exit into this 4-year program, whether it is undergraduate degree in year 1, and then undergraduate diploma in year 2, and a degree in year 3, and a BTech program at the end of 4 years. So, this one, as I told you, National Credit Framework implementation, we are in the process. We have made a committee, high power committee. They have already met several times, made a document. Soon we will roll out these guidelines as well to the institutions.
Regarding the dual degree program as per NEP 2020, what is the present status of the same policy? Are we in a position to offer dual degree program right now? Say for example, if an engineering student who is studying computer science and engineering in our institute or any other engineering colleges and wishes to continue his studies in some other field as well along with his engineering study. So what should we suggest? Is that currently applicable?
Presently, no. But at the same time, as I told you, this committee is looking into that also. Dual degree program. How do a student in computer science will get another degree doing equivalent credits in that period or beyond that period? So that's also been worked out, and we'll roll out soon on that.
থ্যাংক ইউ ভেরি মাচ স্যার ফর টকিং টু জি 24 ঘন্টা। যেভাবে আমরা ক্রমশ ন্যাশনাল এডুকেশন পলিসিকে বুঝছি, আগামী দিনে সেই ছবিটা আমাদের সামনে আরও বেশি স্পষ্ট হবে। তবে একটা বিষয় স্পষ্ট, দেশের ভবিষ্যৎ এবং ভিত তৈরি করে দেয় শিক্ষা। ফলত এই ন্যাশনাল এডুকেশন পলিসি আগামী দিনে যেভাবে আমরা আমাদের দেশকে দেখতে অভ্যস্ত, সেই দেখা, সেই দৃষ্টিকোণ তা যে সম্পূর্ণ বদলে যেতে চলেছে তা আজকে এআইসিটির চেয়ারম্যানের বক্তব্য থেকেই স্পষ্ট।
বাংলার আওয়াজ, বাঙালির আবেগ, জি 24 ঘন্টা।